Is the special interview on your channel of choice, Muvi Television, with me, Calvin Tabula Chifokolo. Now, sincere apologies for starting the program a little late, but nevertheless, I will continue and try to probe more on what is happening in different political parties and in the country at large. This time, we want to look at what is happening in the ruling party, the Patriotic Front. And my guest on the program, he has been known to be spending big when it comes to auctions. And he's the only man who is known at the moment that he purchased the president's hat at a price of 185,000 kwacha. And also during the President Eddie Gachagua Lungo Mount People's Empowerment Cooperative fundraising event held in Lusaka, he purchased the portrait of the president at 65,000 kwacha. Munir Zulu is my guest on the program. Munir, good evening and welcome to this special interview.
Good evening, Calvin, and good evening, viewers.
You are a PF member, staunch one. First things first, the president announced to the nation that 30 million kwacha has been set aside, and this will go towards the artists to cushion the impact on COVID-19. And we saw about 150 plus artists being empowered through the presidential empowerment, the 30 million in presidential empowerment fund. But it seems it didn't settle well with you. With other beneficiaries, you are okay with it, but others, you are not okay with it. First thing first, what went wrong?
First things first, we should be in a position as a people to understand that the intentions of President Edgar Lungu was genuine. The intention was good.
When you say the intention was good, artists have started being empowered, and you're saying it was good.
Yes. There is only one name that I'm going to mention, Sarafina. What I thought when the name Sarafina came into my mind was that it's a South African artist that did the song Freedom is Coming Tomorrow, only to come to know that it's a Sarafina that flies from Ndola to Lusaka to celebrate some journalist's purchase of a Range Rover. How does that make one an artist? If we were to go into the details of all the artists that have received that empowerment, is the ministry in the position to give us their business proposals so that every one of us can have a look at them? You cannot tell me you are going to give a WhatsApp blogger by a 300,000 kwacha in this economy and saying the empowerment was on merit. How? From where? Is she, what kind of an artist is Sarafina? Let me ask, maybe. Because I've seen, of late, we've developed a certain social media syndrome where people project themselves as social media influencers, on their CV that is, social media influencers, MCs, master of ceremonies, motivational speakers, but they don't put the academic credentials. And then you wonder what kind of a country we're living in. And then the person that is the PA to the so-called social media influencers becomes an artist and given 300,000 kwacha, which is equivalent to $15,000 as at today's rate. How?
So when we were told as a nation that 30 million kwacha has been set aside and this money will be given to artists, according to you, as Munir Zulu, as a member of the Patriotic Front,
first of all, let me correct you and let me guide you. I only sympathize with the Patriotic Front.
Okay. As a sympathizer of the Patriotic Front, when you heard that 30 million has been set aside and it's going to be given to artists, what came into your mind? What sort of artist were you looking out for to say these are the people that are going to benefit?
You see, we've got artists diverse. We've got people that are into poetry. We've got people that are into crafting. We've got people that are into designing. We've got people that do Nuna Reverse. We've got people that do Mankole. Now, there are certain artists, I'm sorry, but I've got to be very honest and I'll be blunt. There are certain artists that we've heard their songs since our high school days and have failed to build their own careers, only to use COVID as an excuse to raise money for what? If for 10, 15 years people fail to make money, what guarantee is there that with this money they're going to make it and that money will be paid back? For me, this is forum shopping, to be very honest with you. Because if we as a people were given a chance to even read their business proposals, maybe it would make sense. Because we live in a country where when people have money, the first thing they think of is buying a car. That's the first thing they do. Not knowing how to sustain that vehicle. So for me, this is something that I wouldn't even want to waste much of my thoughts on, because the intentions were good. Those are under Ministry of Tourism and Arts, all right?
Yes.
Why didn't the ministry come up with a system? Say, okay, fine. The empowerment is, in cash it's 30 million kwacha.
Yes.
Why not teach people how to hunt? And then they go for lion skin in South Luangwa, Kafue National Park. Why that information is being hidden? To make us think that there is more money in cash than in hunting. There is more money in cash than in fishing. Why not teach them how to fish? 30 million could have been invested in human resource. And then they go fishing and they reap the benefits. Chandanake had a show at Woodlands Stadium. They filled up that stadium. It could be a 20, 30,000 seater. The money that was collected from the gate sales alone didn't go to Chandanake. It went to the sponsors and organizers of that event. So they advertised. Why not teach these artists to say, a skin of a lion is so much in Philippines. We'll give you the tools, we'll take you in the game parks, go hunting, than you giving them the cash. Why is the Ministry of Tourism not telling the Zambian people the costs of learning how to hunt? That information is hidden. But when it's money time, it's Christmas for everyone.
We have been told that the monies that are being given to these artists, it's a revolving fund. And
tell me which artist will give us back that money.
We've been assured by the ministry that this money will have to be paid back.
I cannot go to the bank and get money without collateral. What collateral is there? Tell me. Is it because it's public money? That money came from Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
I cannot go to any bank in the world and get money without collateral. And money, there is a statement on most notes. I promise to pay the bearer on demand.
Yes.
So if we ask for that money tomorrow, which artist will give it back?
Are you saying these artists that have benefited don't have the capacity to pay back?
They don't. It's a fact. We are a country of jokers. That's why we have reached as a people. Those artists, none of them has capacity to pay back that money. To tell you the truth. First of all, we've reached a point where people don't consult. They don't want to listen to a voice of reason. That empowerment, I've heard people justifying, no, this artist didn't apply, this artist applied, their proposals A, B, C, D. It was done in 10 provinces. God of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac should save us. Let us get 4 proposals that were submitted by these artists. I've seen some of them, and that's why I'm speaking like that. Trust me, they will not even want the public to know the contents of those business proposals.
During the week, you were in our news, and you said the intention by the president
It's good.
It's good and welcome, but you're not going to be part of the fraud. Is this a fraud?
For me, it is. If it's not a fraud, then it is meant to drain the treasury a little bit further, because we've got Mumbayachi, for example. Mumbayachi had his studio burnt less than 21 days ago, and you've got the minister in charge of tourism saying, for any contribution, you can contact National Arts Council of Zambia. How? When you are just from giving Sarafina 300,000 kwacha, what criteria was used? When did Sarafina become an artist? I'm limiting this to Sarafina because Sarafina is not an artist. Unless every dramatic girl in this country has become an artist, then who are we?
The Minister of Tourism and Arts, Ronald Chitotela, appeared on the Furnace on Thursday.
Yes.
And he said those that are against the empowerment, the presidential empowerment to artists, these are enemies of progress and they just want to distract government. This is a noble call. And he said he has received calls from different artists, not only in Zambia, but Africa, commending him as a minister and the president to say this is a way to go. We are happy for Zambia, and everyone who is against and who is talking ill of the empowerment is an enemy of progress. Mr. Zulu, are you an enemy of progress?
First of all, I think the minister was joking. I wouldn't take that statement to be very serious from Honorable Chitotela, to be very honest, because this country boasts of having produced great minds, great young people. And if we were to put it to the Zambian people to judge us, to rewind Honorable Chitotela's lifestyle when he was of our age, he wouldn't call us as enemies of progress. We've contributed massively to this country at our age. Probably Honorable Chitotela, in his comfort zone as Honorable Minister, can call us as enemies of progress. But to be very honest, ask him one question. At 33 years old, what was your story? I started telling my story when I was 24 years old. One thing that is correct is that most of these cabinet ministers are trying to sugarcoat certain statements. No, President Lungu is happy with this. People are calling me from outside Zambia, which non-Zambian would call Honorable Chitotela to please President Lungu. They have disappointed the president on Bill 10. Then a foreigner should call Honorable Chitotela and say, you are doing a great job for President Lungu. To me, and I'll be very honest, with no apologies to make, he's a liability to President Lungu. If I'm an enemy of progress, Honorable Ronald Chitotela is a liability to this government.
What sort of ministers or people, according to you, as a sympathizer of the PF, are surrounding the president?
There is a mixed breed, all right? PF has very good ministers and at the same time very bad ones. I'll cite certain ministers. You've got sober ministers like Honorable Musukwa, Mines, Honorable Alexander Chiteme, National Planning, Honorable Kampamba Mlenga, Social, Bowman Lusambo, Lusaka, Finance Minister, Soba, Mwakalombe, the Coca Belt Provincial Minister, Soba. Then we've got Dr. Chitalu Chitufya is a sober guy. The only people that are denting him are young people that follow him behind. Then we've got Nixon Chilangwa, very sober minister, Luapula Provincial Minister. Equally, we have...
but you are busy, mentioning provincial ministers. You've mentioned the three.
That's
so
what I've
far.
said, mixed.
But you're not mentioning full cabinet ministers, like those who are...
Honorable Musukwa, Chiteme.
Yes.
Dr. Chitalu Chirufya.
3.
Who else do I know? Katambo is a Kasoba guy.
But are these critical ministries?
Which ones?
Like information, we've got tourism and arts. We've
Look,
got home affairs.
you are mentioned. Oh, no, home affairs is a sober guy. Honorable Stephen Kampyongo is a sober guy.
Okay.
In fact, when Honorable Stephen Kampyongo was the PF National Youth Chairman, there was discipline in the party. The moment Honorable Kampyongo went to security, discipline has become the order of the day in the Patriotic Front. It's a fact. I'm just from telling you to say, look, for me, Honorable Chitotela is a liability to this regime. So you are asking me to give an opinion on him. How? He's labeled us as being enemies of progress. So he's a liability. If he wants only those that say, Honorable Minister Shkwete Obunga, and those are not enemies of progress, will continue to be enemies of progress. Honorable Kampyongo, sober mind, sober character, disciplinarian. We miss him. Not, look at Honorable Kelvin Samba, Kasama MP, the one who took over from Honorable Kampyongo. What's the order of the day? Youths are fighting. Why? Come on, guys, we should learn to speak the truth.
Now that you've mentioned some ministers that are surrounding President Edgar Lungu, those that are sober, those that are not sober.
In my opinion.
In your own opinion. And people out there, I know that you are aware, as a sympathizer of the PF, that the PF government has been labeled as the most corrupt. People have, called some ministers corrupt. Others have gone to the extent of calling even the head of state, the president, to say he's corrupt. Do you think there's corruption in the PF?
I'll answer your question in a different way. I'll help you to phrase your question. Is the Anti-Corruption Commission working? It's a toothless bulldog. Corruption does exist inside the government and outside the government systems. I've been to the Anti-Corruption Commission to complain over some Chinese called Jiang Zhang of Wazhang Investments. All right? This Chinese guy has the audacity to call me when I'm leaving Anti-Corruption Commission building to say, I can see you leaving SEC. You went to report me, but SEC is in my pocket. And I tell this to the Anti-Corruption Commission. This Chinese guy is claiming that you're in his pocket. If I had a way, that institution should have been disarmed. They should ban it. We only have 2 institutions, in fact 3 in this country now. It's either Zambia Police or Drug Enforcement Commission and Zambia Revenue Authority. Anti-Corruption Commission is a stooge of certain Chinese.
But we've seen the Anti-Corruption Commission, pursuing some cases.
The convictions of the Anti-Corruption Commission are those of 200 kwacha, 300 kwacha, 1,000 kwacha. Anything above $50,000, tell me one case that have succeeded, especially for people that are not politically exposed. If a Chinese, I'm challenging this Chinese here, claims to have bought off the Anti-Corruption Commission. His name is Jiang Zhang. He's saying I've bought off the Anti-Corruption Commission. And for sure, he's sending me a message, a text message. And the next day, that text message is on a letterhead from a government department. The same contents. He says, look, wherever you go, I've bought off this town clerk, I've bought off this DC, SEC, and the contents of the letters on letterheads are the same. And then today we should say we've got Anti-Corruption Commission. How can they investigate Honey Bee if they're failing to investigate a simple Chinese?
You lodged a complaint pertaining corruption. This is November. Have you received a favorable response from the anti-corruption? If not, what is your next step then?
They cannot give me I know to say that toothless.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit and say, okay, continue being in the pocket of these Chinese and continue, dining with the people that are corrupt?
You see, ACC was created by an act of parliament, all right? And for some of us that are concerned with the affairs of our country, we've requested our lawyers to give us certain legal opinions on how that institution can be disbanded. It's not serving the purpose it was created for. There is no way me, who is a Zambian, can fly into China where the corrupt are assassinated and hijack that institution. I tell the Anti-Corruption Commission, these Chinese you are siding with, and now, because now it's in the public domain, I'm no longer an informant, because I thought I'm the informant, but they were selling me to the Chinese. A Chinese guy goes to say, I paid them $25,000, I paid that investigator $25,000. I said, well and good, you've paid them. Then the government gives you a contract to build 40 schools, all right? He only built less than 10, and he's being paid more than any contractor in the country. This is on record. Just last week, he received 30 million kwacha. Corruption. The president said, you are coming for my ministers, labeling them as being corrupt, when you are leaving the actual perpetrators of corruption, the contractor. Does ACC listen? What do? They want a payroll from a Chinese.
Is government serious in fighting corruption? And you've mentioned that, according to you, SEC should be disbanded.
It should be.
What else should we do? What is it that government should do in fighting corruption?
You see, there are so many factors. When you say, SEC is part of government.
Yes.
That institution, in its current state, is a toothless bulldog.
It can't give us
Can't.
results.
It won't give us a result.
What should we do?
We need, as a people, we need to revisit the position of the law that governs that institution. I'm not convinced that all the matters that involve the big business boys in town are corrupt-free. I don't believe that all matters involving politically exposed persons are not cases enough to secure conviction at anti-corruption level. But when a police officer hides 200 kwacha in the heart, then it becomes corruption. I think we've got to revisit the law. For now, it's not serving the intended purpose.
Let's talk about the internal wrangles in the Patriotic Front. Earlier on, you mentioned that youths are fighting. What is it that is making youths of the same family, the big family, the party that is in government, to be fighting? Why is it that they are fighting? What are they fighting for?
I'll take you to one principle of a gambler. A gambler will tell you to say, there is no gambler that is a fool, all right? Even from the business perspective, businessmen that read the cards will tell you to say it's comfortable to do business with the government of the day. PF is attractive for so many reasons. It's tolerant to divergent views. These infights amongst the youths are as a result of undermining the Secretary General's authority when going to Kabwe. There are certain members of the Central Committee, certain cabinet ministers that are not comfortable going to Kabwe without a team that can cause mayhem. If you recall, not too long ago, Innocent Kalimanshi appeared on Zambian National Broadcasting
Yes.
television and called himself National Commander. Why? When the Secretary General of the party said he's not yet been admitted to the Patriotic Front. We've got a crop of ministers, members of the Central Committee, fighting those that are in the party structures. Intercities with the Secretary General. The Kanyama youths are with the Secretary General. Innocent Kalimashi, that was only granted bail, was it yesterday or the other day?
The day before yesterday.
The day before yesterday. Is the ADC for Kelvin Sampa, the Kasama member of Parliament. Kelvin Sampa has no influence on youths in the party. No single influence. So, the source of confusion is the youths in the PF have a wrong national youth chairman, number one.
Who was appointed by the president?
By the Central Committee.
By the Central Committee?
Yes.
So they made a mistake?
Come on, it is. It's a scam.
So the Central Committee knew that this guy has got no command.
I'm not part and parcel of the Central Committee. Just like Honorable Stotel is not a member of the Central Committee. We may not know the deliberations that take place in there, but he is a scam. He's got no influence whatsoever amongst young people in this country. That's why we've reached a point where today you hear National Students Youth League, National Mobilizations Youth League. I mean, there is mobilization for the students. He's also created his own. He organized a rally because of one youth in PF, Maxwell Chungu, former Big Brother.
Yes, diehard.
Goes to Kafue to launch his political bid. A week later, Kelvin goes there. His rally flops, brings students from Lusaka into Kafue district, and then he decides to have certain students arrested because he carries the title of being honorable. Are we going to reduce our thoughts, opinions, just because someone who carries a title honorable can call the police and say, arrest that one for conduct likely to cause breach of peace? No. It's time people started listening to a voice of reason. Kelvin Sampa is a wrong fellow to lead the young people in PF. For me, not because I'm a businessman, not because I sympathize with the PF. He cannot influence my opinion, and that's enough reason for him to be a wrong guy. Honorable Stephen Kampyongo would say, Mwaiche, we're empowering youths in Kalingalinga. He gives out 70,000 kwacha. Simple example, huh? Honorable Kampyongo goes to Kalingalinga at one kawash, gives out 70,000 kwacha. Then you have Kelvin Sampa coming in to empower the youths with a barbing machine for 2,000 kwacha, lowering the levels from 70 to 2,000 kwacha. And that's the kind of a person that should inspire we young people to greater heights. Self-centered man? No, I'm sorry.
Do you think youths, like the way you've mentioned, that the National Youth Chairperson has got no command? He can't command and he can't influence a person like you. Where are the youths taking their complaints? Are they complaining with the Central Committee or the appointing authority, say, this guy is the wrong guy that you've given us, please give us another guy? Or they're just complaining in their bedrooms or in their blankets?
You see, the trend that I have observed is that when they see a decent member of the Central Committee, they go running. They go to this. So their complaints are scattered on how they are. But the truth of the matter is there was a notion before the voting of Bill 10 that maybe the Central Committee's hands are non-functus, all right? Non-functus in the sense that they were hoping that if we changed certain people, they will not vote for Bill 10. But now Bill 10 didn't succeed. So most young people that I interact with, that I'm on WhatsApp blogs with, are waiting to hear that certain people have been removed from the positions that they possess. Kelvin Sampa is one of them. I can tell you the day that Kelvin Sampa will not run National Youth League, there'll be jubilation.
You've talked about Kelvin Sampa, but the chief government spokesperson, Madam Dora Siria, mentioned that there are people within the Patriotic Front, senior members, who don't want Edgar Chagwalungu. And these people are the ones who are bringing confusion.
You see, Honorable Siria could have a point, and us that are on the outside listen to a lot of things because we interact with a lot of people. I concur with her statement because the confusion in PF is bordered on running mate and the youths. Most of these people that condemn youths like myself, I don't want to mention other youths that I know are prominent in PF, but like myself, they will not like us for one reason. We don't go to them to say, so when they're having their caucus meetings, they don't invite us. Honorable Slia is right. The very senior members, the even members of the Central Committee that are praying, or were praying, that President Lungu is not eligible. I spoke to lawyers. I said, what's the issue after Bhutan? They said, no, the issue of eligibility is not there. What is a problem is delimitation. Okay? Now, those senior members are a source of conflict. Others are not comfortable that our honor the vice president is the vice president. Others prefer to carry cameramen or camera women in everything they do to please the president. But look, the president has a genuine crop of followers that are not even interested in meeting him, that are ready to do anything for his name and his candidature. So why these crop of ministers, members of the Central Committee, can sponsor that confusion remains a source of concern to a lot of us. They don't believe to say, when it's your time, it's your time. It's President Lungu's time. Unfortunately to them, it's not their time. They can wait. I was arguing with some people in a certain WhatsApp group. I said, look, you guys want to make noise. No, what happens if State Council John Sangwa brings a petition? I said, are you telling me PF has no human resource to talk over from President Lungu? There is enough human resource. But how many of good intent, good in character, could be the question. Not everyone that carries a flag on their vehicle means well. Not everyone that is a member of the Central Committee means well.
So it is mixed.
It's mixed.
There are those that mean well and those that don't mean well.
Exactly.
And they want to destroy the party.
But they will not succeed.
Bhutan has failed.
Yeah.
What do you think made Bhutan to fail? Because we were told by the Patriotic Front, Deputy Chief Whip, Tutu Ngulube, told us that we have the numbers and Bhutan is going to pass. But what we saw on the 29th was the opposite.
You see, this country, we are full of drama queens and kings. Even you guys in the media are not helping us when it comes to reporting the truth.
How?
Bhutan did not fail in its literal sense.
What failed?
Other members of parliament absconded from voting. I prefer people coming. Let's agree to disagree. That way I would have given a proper opinion. But a situation where Other members of parliament are not in the House. It's one-sided argument.
But they made it clear that they are not going to be part of that.
That's how the story comes in, that some people are abducted. Look, Honorable Tutu Anguluwe is one guy that I have sober conversations with whenever we meet. And when he says some people were abducted, under a normal system, the police should have summoned some people, because abduction is what had Honorable
Romeo Kangombe.
Kangombe arrested in Chinsali.
Is it possible to abduct 53 plus?
Oh, people? Yes. You've forgotten of the Malaysian Airlines? Until to date, we don't know where the plane went.
I mean in Zambia. Is it possible?
How special are we?
We are a developing country. Malaysia is...
Come on, if I want to abduct you, I can. Do I have the resources to abduct you? Yes, because for me to abduct you, I need resources. That's all.
So you believe that some members of parliament were abducted?
That's true. The only thing I don't believe is the 3 PFMPs that didn't vote for Butane that were abducted. But others, it's possible. We are living in very interesting moments, and I hope we that belong in the Joshua generation that are preparing to take over can learn something and then shape the destiny of this country.
Some people are saying people that were charged with the responsibility of making sure that butane passes were not telling the president the truth. They knew that butane was not going anywhere and they didn't have the numbers, but they kept on telling the president that, Peter, butane is going to pass. So these are the people that have made butane to fail because they are not truthful.
You see, it's very difficult to say what people told the president because none of us were privileged to listen to those discussions. Only the president can say they lied or they told him the truth. None of us. We don't know who was sent to manage what. That's a lie. One thing is true, is that people that hold position of power are never comfortable. They're insecure. It's possible that they could have lied, and it's then possible that they never lied. That's just gossip news in town.
The Secretary General wrote letters to the 3 members who did not vote for Bill number 10, and these are Chifubu, Mwansabombo, and Kamfinsa lawmakers.
Yes.
Others are saying the government chief whip, Brian Munduvile, said, we've told our members of parliament to debate the bill and vote the way they want. Those, if they feel like they need to vote for the bill, they should go ahead and vote for the bill. If they feel they should not vote for the bill, they shouldn't vote for the bill. But in those letters, the SG was saying, why did you go against the directive that was given by the president that all members of parliament from the PF should vote for the bill? What do you make of that?
First things first. Honorable Brian Munduvile is the chief whip.
Yes.
And then the Secretary General is the CEO of the party.
Yes.
There is no way that Honorable Munduvile would go against the decision of his CEO. He guided. Vote for it or against. They absconded.
When he knew that the position of the party is that you should vote for the bill.
The Secretary General is merely doing his job. For me, the SG is doing his job. It's him to discipline them. Brian Munduvile's hands are limited to Parliament building. Beyond that, where will he go?
Chifu Member of Parliament, Dr. Frank Ngambi, wrote a letter of complaint to the Speaker to say I voted for the bill and I don't know why my vote was not counted. And on Thursday, the Speaker gave a ruling and said, this man is lying. He didn't vote for the bill.
There is no honor amongst thieves.
Meaning?
Honorable Ngambi should take responsibility for having done the wrong thing. I don't think the Speaker... Look, we are in a situation where before they went for sign die, others said Bill 10 cannot be reintroduced to Parliament.
Yes.
But then this is the speaker that entertained this bill this time, saying, look, the circumstances under which we closed Parliament were unforeseen. For me, Honorable Ngambi should just take responsibility. There is no harm in taking responsibility, my brother. Absolutely no harm. I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And we'll pick it up from there.
There are these debates, or there is this debate that President Edgar Lungu does not qualify or is not eligible to stand in 2021. The opposition are saying he's not eligible. The civil society is divided. There are those that are saying he's not eligible, and there are those that are saying he is eligible. And those that are in PF are saying President Edgar Lungu is eligible and he's our candidate. What do you make of this?
Again, I'll bring it back to you guys, the media. There are certain statements that come from the opposition political parties saying President Lungu will be the easiest candidate to defeat on the ballot. So if he's the easiest, why not wait for him on the ballot than saying he's not eligible? Because for me, that's fear. If you read the Concord ruling, the Concord judges were very explicit in their ruling. They said, we are not going to limit our ruling to an based on an individual. And you cannot pass a ruling of a 10, limiting it to one person. Because supposing he's not there, then what? If he's the easiest candidate to defeat, why are you scared of him appearing on the ballot?
Are you also scared that if ECL is not on the ballot, then you don't have anyone? Or the person that you're going to field will be the easiest?
Not too long ago, I told you, PF has enough human resource.
But if you've got enough human resources, why is it that we're not having a discussion of saying, if indeed ECL is not eligible, then we have enough human resources? But people are saying, no, he's eligible, and come what, he's going to be on the ballot.
No. Even he himself can decide, say, gentlemen, I'm not going for it. That does not make PF not have human resource enough to take over. If anything, when President Michael Sata passed on, may his soul rest in peace, President Lungu was not one of the most famous person to take the mantles of PF. He wasn't.
Yes.
People fought in Kabwe, there was GBM, you know the story. There was Mao Sampa, our mayor today. There was Given Luwinda, he's just a justice minister today. Whether he'll become president at some point, only God knows. So, PF has proven that they've never run out of human resource. Unlike their greatest rival, UPND. UPND, when President Mazoka passed on, we were young then. The story was different. The unknown from their party structures took over. And in President Mwanawasa's book, I think, he talks of having been betrayed by Hakainde Hichilema. Mwanawasa says, look, I was to appoint this guy as Minister of Energy. And then overnight, he's the UPND president. So for PF, without President Lungu, they have the numbers. But what's the story with other players? Do they have the human resource to take charge of the affairs of this country? The answer is definitely no. PF has enough human resource, but their opponents, maybe these new political parties that have been formed now, could have.
Are you worried with these talks that are coming from
Why should I be worried?
The opposition?
Why should I be worried?
The President Edgar Lungu is not eligible, and anything can happen. He can be or he cannot be on the ballot come 2021.
Look, I'm the last person to get worried, because I know that PF has enough human resource. Should President Lungu not stand, There will be others that will take over.
And you are going to support them?
We'll support them.
There is a 20% that has been proposed by government, or it is a policy that 20% in these road constructions should be given to local contractors. Others have cried foul that we're not seeing these 20% being given to local contractors. Have you seen these 20% being given to local contractors? Or you're also holding that view of other local contractors who are saying, we can't see the 20%?
There is an issue here. This 20% is not yet law. It's a policy. What we've been crying for is that let it be passed as a law. I think the only foreign firm that has tried its level-based, getting closer with compliance levels is AFCONS. AVIC failed, China Jiangsu failed, China Jiangxi failed, Wakong has failed. The only company that compliance levels at about 15, 16, 17% is AFCONS. The rest have failed. I'll give you an example, and I hope Engineer Ebongandu is listening to this. The new president-elect for Engineering Institution, Council of Zambia. Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, the original tender document had in it the component of that airport road.
Yes.
The one who builds the airport equally does the road. But it was removed from the BOQ. So where did the money go? I've seen EIZ going to Cairo Road saying these pillars and whatnot. But this Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, because the road from the airport to CBD is the face of the country. Who got that money? We know of some ministers that were, when they were in charge of infrastructure, chose to build roads up to their houses in New Kasama at the expense of the road that is the face of the country. Where is EIZ in all this? If you can help us, ask EIZ. Mr. Ebongandu started on a good note, and we want to support him as young people because this country belongs to all of us. Who removed the road, the airport road, from the actual tender documents? Who took that money? And no one is talking about it. Why? How do you have the face of the country with potholes every second? Who? We can't say it's Honorable Vincent Mwale. Honorable Vincent Mwale has only been Minister of Infrastructure for less than 3-4 months. That's what I'm saying. Anti-Corruption Commission is toothless bulldog.
Do you think government or government officials are following up the policy to make sure that 20% is given to local contractors, or they have just sat to say it is up to the companies that have been given these contracts whether to give or not to give?
They can try, but when something is not law, it's a problem. You don't want to take government into these litigations. For me, whether it's NCC, it's RDA, directors, it's very hard. Because I can tell you to say, look, those are mere pronouncements. It's not a law. And if I'm the director at NCC today, you come to me, Kelvin, say, no, Charity has to give me a subcontract, 20%. And then Charity says, which law are you using? As a civil servant, what did you do? Do you want to be arrested for abuse of authority? Their hands are tied. That unfact us. We must get to a stage where we say, okay, fine, this is a policy, but can we quickly pass it as a law? But do we see parliamentarians doing that? No. So how do you blame directors that run these institutions? Their hands are tied. That's why I'm being very hesitant to criticize them, because it's not the position of the law.
There is an Auditor General's report that was released recently.
Yes.
and it has shown that over 6 million kwacha was mismanaged at the Ministry of Health, and these are COVID funds. We have been told by government that we are serious in fighting COVID-19. And recently we were told by the Minister of Health that there is a second wave coming in December, which is next month. But the monies have been mismanaged at the Minister of Health. What do you make of this?
First and foremost, it's quite sad that we've reached this stage as a country where we've politicized everything. I read an article about a month or so to say there are some people that are going to be used to fight Dr. Chitalu Chilufya using the Auditor General's office. And I don't know whether the author of that article spoke like a Jewish prophet, but it has come to pass. Not to shy away. I'm one of those that supplied the first N95 at the Ministry of Health. But it's been over 8 months, I've not been paid. I've never complained, I've never cried foul. So when I read articles saying 6.5 million kwacha has gone missing when my 2.8 has been stuck for the last 8 months, I wonder to say, how? Is it this propaganda at play? Because the fight is big. The PF's internal fight is big.
Do you think the internal fights that are in PF can go to an extent of telling the nation that 6-point-something million has been mismanaged at the ministry?
My brother, it's possible.
Is this not tarnishing the image of government, the ministry, and the nation at large?
There are certain ministers that have said, Twalafirira Munsenga. It's possible.
So they can go to that extent?
Yes, they can. I remember not too long ago when the president was visiting Munir Zulu. He was talking of Honorable Yaluma and some other...
The council chairperson?
Council chairperson.
That CDF was lying.
Yes. He says, I don't know why they're fighting. Because everyone has their own responsibilities. Trust me. I don't believe everything that I read. Not until I do my due diligence. First of all, the minister is not involved in the procurement system. All right?
Yes.
You've got a procurement unit, then you've got the financial department. Those that procure, those that receive are different, and those that pay are different. The last person is the PS. But because PS is not a politician,
these are technocrats.
These are technocrats. It's only where Chinese has invested money that technocrats will write advice to the minister and the minister will say otherwise. It doesn't operate like that. The stories could be very loud, but I don't buy that story. The only thing that I woke up to was when this grand old boy was saying he's the proprietor of Honeybee Pharmacy, that they supplied drugs worth $17 million. To be very honest, why do young people want to find themselves in problems? $17 million and his own appearances don't add up. You
don't believe that he's the one of the...
How?
He's the one who supplied.
He's a stooge.
He has told us that he's the one who supplied. And we were told by the ministry that Honeybee will have to resupply. And so he has come out. We know the person that supplied. Is this not good news? That now we know the person that supplied.
But if you go to Pakra, is he one of the shareholders of Honeybee?
How can someone come to the public and say, I'm the one, when he's not?
That's why I'm saying your anti-corruption commission is toothless. It takes 10 kwacha for you to search for directors of a company at Pakra. Why should we be projecting boys and girls that want fame to be proprietors of such institutions? Why?
So you don't believe this guy? You think...
He's a scam. It's that simple. What has he got to his name? $17 million. He can't even provide a bid bond for that $17 million. Gentlemen, $17 million is not
anywhere near 17 million.
But Mr. Zulu, not just complaining here. If you doubt the guy,
Not that I doubt. I'm stating facts.
What step are you going to take, or what step have you taken?
That's why.
Because this guy, for me, is impersonating.
Impersonating to be what?
To be the owner of Honeybee, or to be the one who supplied.
I think the position of the law won't be good to say is impersonating. What could be true is that he's an alarmist.
Okay.
We do not know what verbal or non-verbal or whatever contractual agreements they have with the directors of Honeybee. So he could be an alarmist looking for fame. And if ZPPA was against the awarding of that contract to Honeybee, and then a simple street boy who sells second-hand vehicles comes up and says, I'm the proprietor of Honeybee, how? We need to get to a stage as a country and do certain self-introspection. There is no way Honeybee that was recently registered without financial audit reports could come and say, we can supply a contract worth $17 million. God of Abraham should save us.
Mr. Zulu, thank you so much for making an appearance on this special interview. It has been a pleasure.
I'm humble.
Hope to see you soon.
I'm humble.
And hope you are going to continue, offering checks and balances to a party that you are sympathizing with.
I will. I'm a phone call away.
This has been a special interview on your channel of choice, Muvi Television. Join us again tomorrow on the assignment. My name is Kelvin Dabola, Chief Fokker, and my guest has been Munir Zulu, PF sympathizer. Bye-bye.